As far back as I can remember, I dreamt of a normal life. A life filled with normal things. A life where monsters don't live in closets or under the bed. A life where ghosts aren't real. I just wanted to be normal. But that didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. Since my early 20s, I have experienced profound paranormal events that would change my life. Extreme poltergeist activity, living amongst those that have departed this earth in ways unimaginable. It has affected my loved ones and children with no end in sight. I could hear things, see things, and feel things not of this world. I asked myself if this was a gift or a curse. With the help of my mother and close friends, I emerged a paranormal investigator. Since 2013, I have been on a relentless journey to learn about the paranormal. This is my time to share my journey with you. Welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. Hello and welcome to my Paranormal Soapbox. I'm your friendly neighborhood ghost hunter, Justin Brown, and we're back with another topic, with another show for you guys this evening. We're going to be talking about whether we should go public with residential cases that we investigate. Should we live stream our residential investigations or cases? And pretty much we're going to cover whether or not you should keep it completely private. Is there any value in releasing any video footage, any information, whether it be about the client's identities, the location, all those things we're going to talk about tonight. I have seen opinions on both sides, and I'm eager to hear what you guys think. Of course, it's going to, Derek is just blowing up the stream with all those shares. Every time he shares the stream, they get a notification. That is crazy. But we're going to get into it. But before we do, we're going to bring the girls in. Jess and Missy's here. They're going to moderate the chat on YouTube and Facebook. Are you girls ready to rock?
Ready.
All right. Okay, guys. I'm going to talk about this stuff. I'm generally interested in knowing what you think about the question, should you live stream your residential location? Should there be any video production done about anything, about any facet of the investigation? Whether you take out the identities of your clients or not, should you put some of that in? Should you leave it out? Do you think there's value in telling people stories about their haunting or about their paranormal experiences? I think there is value in it, but there's a lot of things to consider. During my 6, almost 7 years of doing this, I have seen benefits from releasing video content on private residential cases, whether or not so private if you're making it public, right? So you have to be very perceptive of red flags. If you get a call and your client is wanting you to do a video production of their paranormal investigation, that should be an immediate red flag. Okay, that should be something they should carefully consider. They should go over things with you. You should, allow them to be aware of the pros and cons where you think this particular case is suitable for some type of video production or releasing of any information about it. The clients would have to consider how their friends and family would view them if that happened. Of course, paranormal pulp culture is littered. The TV stations and cable stations are just littered with lots of residential cases. I mean, ghost hunters in a paranormal state, and even, every show, one time or another, has done some type of video production at a residential location. Is there any value in it? Yes, but does the value is it outweighed by the unvaluable things, or the things that look tacky, that look unprofessional, that seem to be letting into someone trying to gain attention, or just trying to put out video production and using someone's case as just entertainment value. Those things can go both ways. Okay. So I think the first thing we're going to start with is what's the value? Because the value is important. There's a lot of people out there that feel like they may feel alone when they're dealing with something dark, something troubling them, something disturbing them. Whether it's intending to to do that to them or not, a haunting can disturb people. They can rattle a family. They can drive them out of their home. A lot of people feel like they don't have a community to reach to. That is lessening and lessening now because of all the shows and all the groups out there putting out content on the internet, articles, videos, so on and so forth. But they're still out there. And I think that there's value also in showing different forms of approaches that people take, whether they're very skeptical or they investigate rather than ghost hunt a residential case. I see a lot of people out there ghost hunting people's homes, which is not an approach I would advocate. Actually, investigating the claims and trying to find rational explanations for them is something that the ghost hunters were trying to do. And I think there's value in that. I think there's value in letting your clients, your residential cases know that this is probably not paranormal, okay? Based on an initial investigation and thorough investigations thereafter. You want to, of course, try to be very observant over a period of time, because a person home is not like a pay and play place that you go and try to investigate and get AVPs, try to catch apparition, have a personal experience, and then document that whole process and journey. It's very different. So you want to kind of portray your, in my opinion, your residential investigation differently. Kind of go about it in a different way and portray how you do things in a different way. You don't want your ghost hunting videos to look anything like the cases you do at residents, at people's houses. So let me know what you think about everything that I say on these things, because I want to know how you feel about them. I think it's important to note that if you're seeking residential cases to provide content for your media, either your online media or for a media company, you need to do so with good intentions, but you need to realize how you're going to be perceived by the audience. A lot of people thrive, they get entertained by these things, yes, and that's why they tune in and day out about, these paranormal shows that are out there. They feel like they may have had a personal experience that they dealt with, and they want to connect with somebody else having that same situation or a similar situation going on. So there is some value in that, but you want to be perceived as somebody that's genuinely not trying to take advantage of somebody just to provide media content for others to digest or to take in. So it creates this interesting situation depending on how you're looking at it, how you're judging or scrutinizing the shows and people's media. There's always those people out there, they're like, oh, that should be kept private. Well, why are they saying it should be kept private? Maybe they had an experience that backfired on them, or they seen somebody had some issues while live streaming a resident's house during an investigation or releasing a video. I've definitely learned the hard way starting off by, live streaming residential cases. I've done it. Don't do it anymore because things have happened. Other situations can become problematic. Maybe you release a video and it becomes very popular, and the residents in the case that live at the home find out that they're becoming more popular from the media you put out there. So that changes their whole intentions of having you there. Maybe they will thrive off that intention that they get. Sometimes that happens. I mean, we're dealing with human nature. So pointing cameras at people and then releasing media to people can change things drastically. And you can easily get led away from why you begun to do this in the first place, what your intentions are, to go in to try to debunk, to go in and try to, give somebody help and assistance, whether either disproving their claims, oh, it's just this raccoon in your attic that's causing that, or it's this Wi-Fi that your kid's sleeping right next to at night. That can give them a lot of like, oh my God, because the normal response is, oh, I'm glad my house isn't haunted because you figured out why. So there should be rare cases to where you do find evidence that something that's beyond logic and beyond, what people perceive as normal is happening. It's very rare that you go to a location and get some profound evidence. And that's happened once, twice, maybe 3 times in my whole experience. So when you go to someone's location, pulling out spirit boxes and pulling out all these research gadgets are hardly ever a good idea. And I want to explain why. Trying to communicate with the ghost that may or may not be there is probably never a good idea, unless you need to engage them to try to exterminate or banish them from the property because they're not wanted. Sometimes that's possible, in my opinion. Sometimes it's not, depending on what you're dealing with. That's where I was talking about trying to ghost hunt a residential case. There becomes problems. You can bring things in. You can make the situation worse. And that's why a lot of people are viewing it. They're like, why are they going in there trying to communicate with things? They're opening, doorways to things that they don't understand. And problems. Okay. My advice to anybody listening to the show, and we're going to get to the opinions, and maybe some people would have some different takes on what I'm saying. Maybe there's some exceptions. I'm sure there is, because nothing's ever black and white. But my advice would to be, you very rigorously go through a protocol of questioning the client, doing background searches, and finding out some type of profile of who you're dealing with, and kind of go through stages to feel out each case. And when you do, you're going to attack just the claims. If they're claiming that something at 2 a.m., they see a shadow enter their room and all of a sudden they feel something touch them, you want to just attack that claim. You don't want to go in there and do anything else. Okay? You want to make sure that you document everything that they're experiencing and only investigate those things, and that's it. If you can't find out why they're experiencing it, but have nothing to show them to say, hey, this is paranormal, it's okay to say things, but you can't explain why these things are happening, but you didn't find any evidence of ghosts, demons, or anything like that. You just want to be very professional about it, and you really want to be objective. And I think if you do that, you're going to be perceived as okay, professional, someone who is reputable in the field. You definitely don't want to sit there and try to talk to Kurt Cobain on the ghost box at somebody's house or something. That's an extreme. But hey, I've seen it. All right. So we're gonna go to the chat. We're gonna do some shout outs. Thank you for the shares, by the way. That's why I put up the notifications so I can see the shares easy. If the notifications get annoying, let me know and I'll turn them off for next show. But let's do some shout outs.
Who do you want to go first?
I don't want anybody to go first. Hopefully you guys would decide.
Go ahead, Missy.
Okay. I have Derek, I have Josh, I have Stephanie, I have Daryl, I have Marilyn, Sandy, Nelson, Rebecca, Valerie, Angie, Paul, and Jamie. And on RU Media, I have Sandra, Ken, and Anthony.
Well, RU
and
Media.
I do have one question.
Okay, we'll hold on to that.
Okay.
If you have questions, now's the time to bring in them, folks, or comments addressing some of the things I've said or what you've dealt with. So go ahead.
Sam Thomas, Deity Paranormal, Darren Smith, MP, Tina P, Hannah, and Betty.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. We'll start with Misty's questions.
Valerie had a question. She
Have we investigated a residential? Yes, we absolutely have. I've probably done, I don't know, I want to say at least 6 or 7 dozen, cases over the last 7 years. Yeah, I have experience with that.
And everybody thinks the little zombie is cute.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad they like the little zombie. I was waiting for them. It's like, make that zombie shut up.
No, they like it.
Darren Smith said, I think if I did a lot of private residentials, I would keep them private and let the client know up front that I don't publicly show residential cases.
Why? Why do you feel that way? If you don't mind me explaining that to me, because I think that's important. Yeah, I seen it. I see it.
I don't know what you see.
The audio issue.
Oh, okay. I wasn't looking over there.
Jess has the restream bot stopped in YouTube. Do you see a bunch of spam?
Yes.
Okay. You do.
No,
see
I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't see it.
Good. I'm glad.
Sorry, go ahead, Missy.
Clay Boardman just jumped on.
What's up, Clay? Long time no talk.
Spirit Stalker Afterlife is on. Sam says, I believe it's up to the client, and if someone goes for that reason to get help, to get rid of someone goes and just start up the spirits, that's wrong. And I agree with Sam. I think it's up to the residential, the residents of the location.
Okay, what if you think their intentions of the client, case by case, if you think their intentions are not good, or if it's not a good idea, would you still go through with it?
No, I don't think I would.
So you would not.
If it's a legitimate case, and if they're scared of something that's there or something like that, maybe they don't want their names out. Maybe they don't want any of information going out. Mm-hmm. But I see your point of, is somebody else experiencing the same thing, to let them know that they're not alone. I get that. But I mean, I don't think every case is going to be, I don't want my stuff out there. So I just think it's, because they might have flaming members that don't believe in any of that, and they don't want that to get out, that they're having issues or. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just, what I think. I think it's case by case if they want it out or not.
It seems like there's so many ifs. What if this, right, and what if that? And that's what makes people not do residential cases. I know Nelson says he doesn't do residentials. I know, yeah, sorry. I lost my train of thought of who I was thinking of. But a lot of people just don't do residential cases. David Wolver said he doesn't do residential cases anymore. And it's usually.
I'm sorry. Do you like residential cases? Do you like enjoying going out? I mean, I've never, obviously, I haven't been on one, but.
I like helping people. A lot of times people will already be convinced what's going on at their place is what they think. And if you go in there and tell them otherwise, it can cause a problem. So that's one of the main problems there is. So one of the questions and things I say up front is, okay, you believe this is going on. If they're displaying some type of strong belief that they know what's happening and they want you to confirm it, if you tell them straight up, what would you do if I told you that that you found no evidence that was true, and you actually found a rational explanation, a natural explanation for what they're experiencing? How would you respond to that? And based on that answer should clue you in how you should proceed. A lot of times my full team doesn't even get into a residential investigation because locally, I only do them locally, like 100-mile radius. So if someone calls me and after my questioning, I got to get them on the phone. If they don't talk to you on the phone, you don't do anything. You talk to them on the phone and you go through all the questioning and you feel your intuition says, okay, there's children that might be, or some innocent people or people that can't protect themselves. You want to dig in a little bit further. I'll take my mom there and I'll be like, hey, Mom, what do you think about this? Is there something going on? And I tell her if I think there's something going on, we'll go in there and we'll just do a cleansing. We won't do like a full-fledged ghost hunt or a full-fledged investigation that take hours and days and weeks. I'll go in there, see if there's anything that is concerning that you don't want, the client to be having to deal with. If they're telling you they don't want to deal with it, and just do a cleansing. Even though we may be wrong that something's there, the cleansing is psychological to them. It may be just enough to put them at ease, but you also want to empower the clients. You want to make them feel like they're not helpless. You want to kind of educate and kind of be their therapist for a little bit, and that could backfire on you too. Okay, so dealing with people in that way is so complex, and that's why a lot of people don't do them. I want to get back to the chat here.
I believe, was it Spirit Stalker?
Yeah.
Donated?
Yep.
Thank you, Spirit Stalker.
Oh, did I miss the notification?
You sure did.
Was on the screen.
Oh, that's because
$5.
That's because I was moving my mouth. Thank you very much, Spirit Stalker. I'm glad that's working. I appreciate
Cindy Griffin has a question. She said, so if most investigators don't do residential cases, how would someone get help if it were needed?
That's a good question. And I think you should, okay, if you're on the other side of this, if you're watching all these TV shows and you're, have anything to do with the paranormal community on social media, and you're seeing the pros and cons and the good and the bad of ugly of all this, I think you should go about it like you're trying to find the best medical help. Let's just say someone just said you got cancer, or you have an autoimmune disease, or you have something serious, right? So you don't want to just flip through the page and randomly point to the first paranormal team that you point to randomly, or you want to ask for recommendations. You want to do some research. You want to make sure that they're the team for you. They're thoroughly researched. They seem reputable. They have good reviews. Try to find out if anybody has investigated them or a case, and that they would refer them to anybody else. Establishing that kind of thing is good. So if you're careful about who you bring in and say, hey, I need help, that team will tell you, well, I don't do residential cases, but they usually have one or two people or teams in the local area that they will refer you to. So just go about it like that.
Darren Smith, I answered his question prior, because he said, because I think it might keep them from using me as a way to get on TV or YouTube. Plus, like you said, Justin, it seems more professional keeping their cases private, all kinds of different reasons. And Car NJ74 said it's a privacy issue. If you want help, then you should do residential cases. If you're trying to be famous, then you need to tell your clients that you'll be putting them on blast via the internet.
Yeah, and see, that's how people perceive some things. They'll be like, oh, they're just trying to get attention. Like, they don't, some people will see kind of like a team that's not on TV or doesn't have like some kind of reputation of being professional or being good at what they do, and they'll see them post up a live stream, or they'll see them release a low budget video production of their investigation based on their perception, and start judging them. Like they have their own way of, or they have their own mindset of how you should go about things. So you're just going to have to be ready for that type of scrutiny. But there's a lot of people out there that watch media about people's personal stories and hauntings. I want someone in the chat that doesn't watch the paranormal shows that show residential cases, and be honest. Okay, I understand there's a lot of people out there that don't watch the shows, but tell me if you click off if it's a residence case, or do you watch and enjoy it? I want to know that, because some people are kind of hypocritical. Some people will watch a high budget residential case on TV, but when they see someone do it on Facebook or YouTube, they'll scrutinize it. They'll poop on it, so to speak. Valerie, where I live, we would just go to the local, I don't know how to pronounce that, Val, sorry. There are plenty, or okay, there are plenty, or a shaman. Yeah, that's good advice. I would definitely, a team like, I don't, just to be upfront with you guys, I would never produce a residential case that someone came to me fresh. If there was already a case that it's been documented and been put out there in the media, there would be a potential, there might be some production going on based on that. Like, you got to be very careful on how you do it. Okay. But, if someone just called me up and it was just, out of the blue and I've never heard about their case before, I definitely wouldn't turn it into a production. That's why we kind of do the ghost hunting thing, and we go to places and we go try to seek out the paranormal to see if we can document it. That's kind of stuff that we're going to produce because there's very little risk involved. It's such a touchy thing.
Sorry. Spirit Stalker said they love it. 74 says, I admit I watch it, but I wouldn't be comfortable if the client didn't want their lives online.
Well, obviously, if you're watching it on a network on cable TV, they sign papers because they wouldn't proceed. They wouldn't proceed then. So there is value. There's entertainment value. A lot of people are consuming that type of entertainment, paranormal entertainment on TV already. Like I mentioned before, you can see how people deal with those type of things. You might be able to connect and empathize with them and feel like, a sense of community, a sense of, hey, I'm not alone in this. There is value in that. But there's all this other mess that's, involved. Like when we go do a residential case, we go through paperwork. Like they have to sign papers, knowing that we would protect any type of confidential information or privacies that they may have. We got to make sure that we have that paperwork filled out. If they do release anything to us that we can use in our video productions, we have to have a video release consent for that. There's a whole bunch of stuff that people or groups should be using on the paperwork and on the legal end, because there's so many legalities involved in dealing with those cases.
I have more comments if you want me to read them off.
Yeah, I see them. Go ahead.
Okay, Tina says, when I get a private cases, my clients want me to publish, but I am against it because of the intentions of a private case should stay private.
Why? Why do you feel like they should stay? I'm sorry. I want people to know exactly why you feel they should stay private. I think that's important.
Betty says, I love residential cases. There's a couple on YouTube that just did a 3-part series involving his family. It's called Paranormal Files. I like them. They are all about the truth. Levin MZRE. I enjoy the YouTube investigators versus the commercial because of the commercialized. It adds sound effects, and all sorts of additional drama. And I want to hear and visualize the actual events.
That is true. I've the most negative comment that we got on our productions is adding music to certain situations. And I'm finally caving this year. I'm going to be taking a lot of the sound design out because people don't want to hear it. And if you want people to watch your stuff, you have to do what people want. So we will be doing that. And I kind of understand, because they feel like if we're adding some type of sound design to it, they feel like they're being influenced in some way and they don't want to be. So I definitely get why.
Tina says, unless it's a particular case, and it would bring something for the research on the field.
Right. There might be those exceptions. I think, like, for example, I think the Conjuring House is a place that's a residential location, but doesn't count because it was purchased for field research. And they're trying to see if it's a livable location, and they want other teams to come in and, they want to see what other teams have to say, whether they be on TV, whether they be nonprofit. That would be an exception, I would say. Missy, do you want to address anything there on Facebook I'm seeing?
Nelson, of course, said he wouldn't disclose anything unless he had a signed paperwork from the owner of the residence.
Right.
Sandy said, I watch only very few. Most of them are ridiculous. Valerie said, I get annoyed. Some of these shows regarding residential investigations, most of them are too fake. And then Val said, if I watch residential cases, I usually search for cases that are local to where I live or places I am knowledgeable about. That way I know in some ways if it is real.
Oh, so they can kind of like go check out that local thing and do an investigation of her own. That's kind of an interesting comment.
Well, like people tell stories, some at a church, but if you watch a residential case from down the road, you're going to know whether it's haunted or not. Okay. I think it's what she's saying.
So, yeah, how would she know? Like maybe if she knew the people?
I guess. She said, I've actually asked my local real estate broker when I was buying homes, if they knew of any haunted houses that are up for sale. LOL.
Is she seeking out the haunted places? She's doing her own research.
Yeah.
I would like to know if they actually told her or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's something.
In some states, it's actually a law. They have to tell the person selling the house has to tell whether the house is haunted or not.
Right.
But what happens if it's haunted, but they don't believe in that? You know what I'm saying? So I see. It's weird.
I see what you're saying, but like if the real estate agent finds that it is haunted, they have to disclose that.
Right.
Not in every state.
Not in every state, but
some states they have to. Which is interesting.
She said yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. If I knew the people, Justin.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get that. And I understand why people would be skeptical about believing things. And, and I like that she feels, she's honest about, she can be fooled into believing something because a lot of people just would rather not try to determine whether something's real or not real, because there's a lot of people out there that are good actors, a lot of people out there good at editing, making something seem real when it's not. I know a lot of people, not to say anything bad about the Warrens, but Ed and Lorraine Warren did a lot of things and made public a lot of these things, and a lot of people gave them harsh criticism for it. And, that's just because they're making money off of books and in events and other types of things. A lot of people see that as fraudulent, or a lot of people see that as unprofessional. Whether you're it's almost like a help me out, girls, with the word, when you're taking advantage of people and making money off of it.
Extorting.
Extortion is kind of like blackmail.
What's the word, Jess?
Oh, hell if I know. You're asking the wrong girl.
I'm a little bit too tired to have the full vocabulary tonight.
Lynn Meyer asked, do you think because they are on the air, some people feel they have to produce results?
Okay, read that again.
She said, do you think because they are on the air, like TV or whatever, some people feel like they have to produce results?
Yep.
Yeah,
they don't have the budget.
They want that wow factor every time.
If you told me that a production company had a budget to do X amount of investigations, like let's just say if you did 10 investigations, my opinion would be that it would be very difficult to do 10 and expect to find something that they would be able to present as, oh my God, like what show out there gives you sound proof that something paranormal happened? None do. So they rely on methods that are already faulty, like blinking light gadgets that can be set off by a host of things that can be explainable. And they use editing, and they use, the story of people, and in personal experience and their reaction to their personal experience to fuel the entertainment value of the shows. And they don't have the budget to go out and do 100 cases and hope you get 5 to fill a season or 8 to fill a season. That's not what happens. They try to find interesting stories that would be entertainment, have entertainment value, and then use a lot of false positive methodologies like the RRDR60. I mean, you'll get an EVP everywhere you go with that thing. So all you got to do is have one of those, and you can have a paranormal show. You can have endless amounts of EVPs coming up out of that thing, for example.
Val said, off the books, yes. On the books, our state does not have to inform us if it is haunted or not.
Mm-hmm.
Jenny said, in Virginia, you do. And then Sandy said, in North Carolina, you do. Val said, Justin is too tired because he is going through withdrawals from that double shot of espresso he drank a couple of days ago.
That's definitely what's caused my fatigue. She's on to me.
Betty says, who's going to watch a show where they say, well, nothing here?
Nobody.
Right. 74 said, in New York, you have to disclose any deaths in the home.
Yeah, I do know that about New York. They actually are the first state to legally pronounce a house haunted, which is very interesting. I like the Greenbrier ghost as my favorite one when involving the legal system. Like when a ghost actually brings forth evidence or makes a claim about a murder, and it's true.
I think it's crazy. I think never mind.
Why never mind? What's crazy?
Because I want to do a thing on it.
Oh, we're going to. It's happening.
I'm so excited because and I'm not a cemetery person, but I'm telling you, well, I mean, everybody, the whole team knows, but that cemetery is very calming.
Well, it's not, it doesn't have everything to do with the cemetery. It's where, the cemetery where she's buried is visited a lot. And it did have a very tranquil vibe to it that is not familiar to me when I go visit cemeteries. But, yep. The telling of the story, the significance of what happened cannot be ignored. If anybody has not heard about the Greenbrier ghost, we will be covering it this season, this year.
Christy is on.
Hi, Christy.
She said, I'm going through withdrawals from not being able to punch someone.
I'm surprised.
So I remind her that you were on air.
I'm surprised that she's not watching Grey's Anatomy. I'll be so glad when she's all the way through that. She'll have to find something else. I mean, she uses up all the tissues in the house from crying.
What do you mean? We're only halfway through the season.
I'll be glad when she's done with it.
We still have until May.
What do you mean?
The season runs until May.
Yeah, and then when it's over, I'll be glad.
But she's only halfway through,
As you keep reminding me, but as I keep reminding you, when she's done watching them all, I'll be glad.
I'll bring her a couple of boxes of tissues.
Please do that.
Sandra Wells said, one approach we have used is to not show anything that would make it easy for anyone locally to be able to recognize a residence or publish names or video or photos of persons unless we have been given permission.
Right. Very good point. I know I'm not going to name the show, but there was a show that was videotaping the front of the person's house, and you could see their address. They said the name of the street they were on. They showed their address, so everybody can easily find where they were at, and they could see everything inside their house. So someone could take advantage of that information, and I do not advocate that. If you're going to release any footage from your residential case, and you and your client have agreed on what is going to be kept private and what's not, be very, very careful. do not show any footage of outside at all, because that's information to kind of help you locate someone who would want to do harm to them or use that against them. And, disguise the voices of people if you're interviewing the clients at all. And just try to focus on the anomalous things and maybe tell the situation of the story without releasing the names. Just try to keep it private as possible.
Yeah, I think if there's kids that live there, I mean, kids, and they find out at school, then it's, it can be they can be mean.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's not just kids, too.
Oh, sure. Tina says, you call those shows, so something has to be done to entertain people. No one gets evidence all the time while you investigate.
Nope. And I'm trying to remember back. I remember our first episode of season 6 at Rhodes Hotel. We barely got anything there. A lot of it we were using new equipment. We found out that our equipment's being set off by our other equipment. And but once we figured that out, we fixed that. But that was a very uneventful investigation when I remember it. Like, nothing really happened outside of some personal experiences. I know you girls had picked up on things, and Derek had felt something touch him. But outside of that, I mean, you have to really rely. You got to do some tricks to kind of keep the entertainment value.
See, and I've been told that from a few people that they like watching the videos that you put out, because it's not all just sitting around doing nothing and what's that noise, what's this noise. There's a storyline, and they would rather if there is nothing to hear, a storyline, some history on the location, rather than just an hour or 40 minutes of nothing, because we don't get everything, things all the time.
Yeah, well, the leading theory behind the paranormal is the history directly correlates with the phenomena in most cases. It doesn't mean it has to. Maybe we're wrong completely about that. Thanks, Angela, for following. Yeah, you have to, without taking advantage or lying or being dishonest, you have to make something about your video entertaining. But that thing is not going to be the same for everybody. So it's hard. You can't please everyone. But Paranormal TV has, in my opinion, ruined a lot of things about the reputation and the intention that everyone should have. I mean, when Ghost Hunters started off, it was actually good. It's actually boring to go back and watch the first couple seasons of Ghost Hunters. It's actually boring to me, but it's real. They're keeping it real. And that's why they had to, sometimes people got caught in Ghost Hunters faking things. That's how they use things like the FLIR camera and other things, and editing and sound design to make it seem scary at times, or make it seem, like, ooh, something happened, and then they'll cut to commercial and leave you hanging. I mean, those kind of tricks, they are what they are. So.
Betty says Zach Beggins always gets his ghost. 74 says, where do you research a location's history?
Well, you can go on the internet. You can go to the public library. You can talk to historians and interview the historians that know about a location, especially if it's a well-known one, like Gettysburg or a battlefield or historical building or the history of a town. There's some things you can find on the internet. Some things are better researched in libraries. What's up, Lonnie? I see you there.
Or where do you
Me personally?
just come in again? Yeah, where do you research? I mean,
well, I use the internet a lot. Depending on where we're going, I'll look at videos of what other people has produced and try to cross-reference it with reliable historical information. A lot of times you'll find out that people get things wrong, and even sometimes I get things wrong. I can't think of a particular time that I did. But if I'm able to go
a jail.
Yeah, if I'm able to jail. Did we get Did we get something
Remember
wrong?
when I was remote viewing?
Oh, yeah. We did get that wrong. But the Old Licking County Jail is a good example because you can, if you live in Ohio, you can go there, talk to historians, talk to tour guides. Those people, it's their jobs to know the history, and they get it right. So I'll interview, like I interviewed Darren Smith. You can interview Terry if she's there. They have all the documents at the location. So when you go, a lot of times when I go to a location, I learn way more than I would initially going in because all the source material is already there. So when you go ghost hunt a location, that's part of the process of learning the history. And when I go back and do the video production, I throw in my learning of the history of it. And that's part of that's pretty much most of the video is learning about the history. But you definitely want to use multiple sources and cross-check them all, cross-reference them all to see if everything matches up. If you find discrepancies, that something's going on.
Spirit Stalker says, what I think is very odd is that my house was haunted for a long time, but it went back to normal. But then my daughter committed suicide 2 years ago, and my house is not haunted. I don't understand.
So you were expecting it to be haunted after this suicide? Is that what you're getting out of it?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe she was that. Remember, I was picking up on that that one day, that little girl.
Oh,
I think that's her.
Well, yeah, I can see how it's frustrating when you want something to come to you spiritually and it doesn't. I understand that completely. And it's hard.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Angela said, as a viewer, it is important for me to trust the investigator or it will ruin it for me.
Absolutely.
Jeff said, we have fun when we investigate, but we also know when it's time not to.
Yeah, that's important.
Adam Bogart said, county recorders are wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Is that it?
I'm going to go on an investigation, but I'm scared, Lonnie said.
Yeah, Lonnie is really, really intrigued about it all, but he doesn't look like he's really comfortable. And I can relate to that. There was a time, Lonnie is a local at Hillsborough, Ohio, and we graduated in the same class, if you didn't know, but I did investigate a house I think Lonnie still lives in here locally. So he can tell you whether I did a good job, whether it's a good idea to release stuff from the investigation, because you can find the investigation I did years ago at his location on our YouTube channel if you go way back. So he can tell you if it was a bad idea to do that or not, and if there was any bad to come out of it. But go ahead.
Jared said, during investigations I've been on, the biggest problem I've seen is that team members were more interested in airtime than investigating.
That's true.
You don't have that problem.
Well, I've been accused of that. I have been accused of that. So that taught me that if things don't go the way the client wants it to, they will use things against you. And that was one of the things they used against me. So you have to consider that. And you should probably just not live stream. Unless you have a dedicated person that's not even part of the investigation, do it. But let's go into the live streaming thing to wrap this show up, because I want that to be one of the biggest takeaways. Live streaming is an interactive video experience that is going to impact an investigation of a residential case, or any investigation for that matter, too much. The cons outweigh the pros. So if you want to be serious about investigating a location or a residence and not be distracted or do things that are not going to help you do what you're there to do, put down your mobile phones, put down the live stream stuff, and actually go investigate. Now, this is not a personal attack against the people that choose to do that. Okay? I want to be clear. I'm not judging anyone that's done that, because I've done it in the past, and I just choose not to do it anymore. If you want to pay attention to what's going on, the last thing you want to do is interacting with people on the internet and staring at a rectangle in your hand and having to worry about whether you're engaging with them or entertaining somebody. Just use common sense. It's not going to help your investigation at all. And hopefully you guys won't be mad at me if you do that, because I'm sure somebody out there is going to be like, well, screw you, Justin. Who are you? I'm nobody.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Lena asked, do you go over your expectations and the client's expectations before beginning
Absolutely.
In addition to legal paperwork?
Yep. And we hit on that a little bit. I tell them, hey, it's like, if you'll know right away if the client has already in their head that their house is haunted by a demon, and they even name the demon that they're haunted by or something, or they'll say it's my Uncle Fred, or they'll say it's this, or they'll say it's that, and they want you to confirm it. If you're getting that impression, you should immediately tell them, okay, what if I tell you you're wrong? How are you going to react to that? And based on their answer, we'll tell you if you should proceed or not. You definitely want to go over the expectations. You want to tell them that, hey, I can't guarantee you that I'll find you answers. I can't guarantee you I'll confirm what you think it is. I can't guarantee you that I can get rid of it. All of those things are thoroughly gone over during our investigations, and everybody should be doing that.
74 says, have you had a situation, investigations, where teammates aren't being serious?
Yep. Happens to us all the time. And it's kind of like a chore, because it's 3:00 in the morning. You've traveled 6 hours to get there. You've worked your butt off, and sometimes humor helps you cope with how tired and frustrated you are. Someone will come along and be like, oh, he just cracked a joke. He's not being serious. Throw him out. So you got to be careful of how you're perceived. And that's one of the takeaways from this show tonight, is you have to be conscious of how people are perceiving your intentions. Read Bonnie's.
I am. Live feed have many with abilities that can help or get something that we can't in person.
That is true. What I would suggest, instead of doing the live feed, I would just take people that remote view or can have abilities remotely and put them on a video call without the live feed and let them see if they can help you. I know Vanessa Hogel does that, and she doesn't do it through live feed. She does it working directly with people, and I like that. I think there's value in that, and that can be helpful, and investigators can use that as a tool. But I would not advocate doing it through a public live feed or through a group where people are just watching along, because there's too many negative impacts to the investigation, in my opinion. Some people may be able to manage it better than others, but I just feel like the entertainment value is trying to trump and overshadow anything helpful that can come out of it. 5 minutes, folks. 5 minutes. Do we got any other questions?
She said like a Skype.
Yeah, like a Skype call or a video messenger. Like, if I think Bonnie's gifted. She's been right about so many things. I'm going to this investigation. I'm going to schedule with her. I'm like, okay, Bonnie, I like how you work. I like what you do. I'm going to bring you into this house remotely through video chat and see what you can do. And you are going to go through a session with her just like she's there, but she's in video. That's what I would do versus the live feed, where anybody can jump in. Let's say if you're on a public Facebook, I mean, you could have some joker jump in, kind of piss people off, kind of irritate you. Maybe you get flooded with comments that have no relevance, or they have no place in your investigation. You're constantly have to weed through those to get to. I mean, it's just it's a mess.
Love it, MZRE. Do you offer to stay in contact with the clients if needed once an investigation is done, or is it one and done?
That's a good question, and I do stay in contact with them. And let's just say you had a good experience with a client and you help them. Most of them, like 99% of them, you're monitoring. You went there, probably didn't find anything, or it was really quiet, or nothing happened, or you couldn't just solve the mystery on that one first visit, which hardly ever happens. You leave your door open. You say, okay, if anything else happens, please report it to me. Take down notes. You have all these bulletin points for them to go over. If this happens, do this. If that happens, do that. Take note of this. Take note of that. Write down this, the time, all the info. You definitely want to keep the door open. And that's why a lot of people don't do the residential cases, because it's such an ongoing thing that eats up a lot of your time and resources. And it's difficult to establish these connections and relationships with people that may be straining on a group or a person. Angela thinks she feels like the live stream would be very distracting. If that's what you're saying, then I have to agree. I have experience. I'm not just saying that. I'm speaking with experience. It's very distracting.
74 says, have you dealt with something demonic? If so, did you get help from the church?
I cannot say with any certainty that I've dealt with anything demonic. But if I feel like I don't work with the church. If I feel like I can't handle something, I would first go to my mom. I know I'm such a mommy's boy. I didn't always used to be that way. I personally would never go to a church. Ever. But that's just based on my beliefs. If you believe that the church can help you, you should definitely go. If a client told me that they were deeply religious, say they're Catholic or Christian, Lutheran, Mormon, whatever, and I felt like I had reached my maximum potential of how I could help them and it's not enough, I would go the route they need. Like, say, go to the leaders of your church, ask them how to proceed. Maybe a lot of times the church don't help those people, but there's churches out there that do. So it's based on the belief of the client and what they want. But me personally, I do not. It's all based on belief. We have come to 9 o'clock. Jared says it's really hard to do a live feed. Someone is always talking to the camera. Your eyes, ears should be concentrating on the client's problem. A+, Jared. You get an A. I 100% agree. Thanks for joining us. Carolyn's J74. That's how you say your name. But yeah, we're winding down. We're at the end of the show. Last call for alcohol, folks. If you have a question or a comment that you want to get out there, thanks, guys, for engaging with us and telling us how you feel and talking to us tonight about this, because I think it's important. You are your God, Justin. No, I am not, Sam. I'm definitely not my own God. I do believe in God, if you're wondering, but not the Christian God. You're welcome, Bonnie. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome, Lynn. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Angela. I'm glad that anybody ever watches. I get comments all the time, people saying, this guy just wants to hear himself talk. He needs to get on more of himself. I'm like, wow, what do I have to do to say that that's not true? It's over already, damn. I know, I'm sorry. It started at 8. Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. All my shows start at 8 p.m. So take note. You're welcome, Spirit Stalker. Thank you for the donation. Thank you. I'm glad that you are enjoying everything with the shows. Thanks, Jared. I appreciate it. All right, girls, we're going to wrap it up. Going into 2020, I knew that I was going to have to keep pushing the envelope, and I just can't do it without you guys. This show is near and dear to my heart, as all of my shows, but I learned so much from talking to you, because interacting with you guys, seeing what you guys say and feel and think is what makes me better. And thank you for that. And that, you know, if you think that I'm getting better and if I'm getting smarter and knowledgeable and more experience, it's because of the shows like this. It's because I'm able to consider everybody's viewpoint and belief and ideas. That's why I do this show. That's why I'm passionate about it. So thank you very much for doing that. If you want to see what we're doing with the ghost hunting, the paranormal investigations, the video productions, all the other shows, consider checking out these links. They're all in the video descriptions. Interfacedeath.net is our primary website where you can access everything we do, including social media. If you have not yet checked out Justin Brown Paranormal Research on Facebook, the link is there. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, PayPal. If you want to do a one-time small donation, you can use PayPal, but otherwise you can use Patreon to financially support our shows, video productions, everything we do, and get rewards and join the Patreon community. And if you want to join our community on Discord, we are there. If you're on Facebook and want to talk about the paranormal, doesn't matter what it is, UFOs, Bigfoot, ghosts, join us on United Paranormal Society, and we would be glad to have you. And Patreon, we can't do this without Patreon support and all the financial support that comes in through PayPal. Please extend your thanks to everybody you see on the screen: Clay Borman, Katie Turner, RJ Murphy, Scotty Fox, Casey Schreiner, Jessica Bias, Paranormal Reporter, Anthony Grothis, Bonnie Ring, Heather Elliott, Joe Vitale, The Ghost Guild, Kelly McConkey, Tony Felosi, Betty Kegley, Cherry Capital Shadow Seekers, Deadlight LLC, General 7, thank you very much. If you want to be a part of this community, patreon.com/supportinterfacedeath. The link is down there in the description. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Tomorrow night, if you like Ghost Loop, if you want to hear me interview Sean Austin on Necromancer Live at 8 p.m. on the Necromancer Live show on Facebook, YouTube, Interface Death, Periscope on Interface Death on Twitter, and Twitch. Nobody watches that. Tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking to Sean Astin for 2 whole hours. See what's going on with the show. See what's going on with Sean. Please join us. And Friday, we're going to have another episode of Interface Death Weekly at 8 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. And there you have it. We love you guys. You're in our hearts. Hope to see you tomorrow. And if I made you mad, that was not my intention. But I'm just throwing my opinion out there. So if I made you mad, you want to let me hear about it, drop me a comment, email me, do what you need to do, and I will consider it. Stick around for some video promotions if you have not seen them. Please consider watching all the shows that we have at the end of the shows promoting of the RU Media Network. There are great shows. We want to support people on RU Media and Paratalk Radio. Cindy and Ted are awesome people. Stick around, see what's going on with them. You guys have a good night. Do you have that drive? That morbid curiosity to explore the darkness? Do you have what it takes to brave the night? You do? Good.
Dead light. For those who aren't afraid to see what lurks cell. I'd like to see you. What the fuck was that?
Lost your audio from your lavalier. Did the power go off?
Well, I felt like I got pinched. But it wasn't like a
Did the display turn off?
This just died.
You gotta be kidding me.
It just died.
Okay, that's brand new lithium-ion batteries. We'll keep rolling. Dude, there's...
Yeah, but at least that one definitely documented it. That's still rolling, that camera.
Oh, yeah, this is rolling too.
Yeah, these just freaking died.
Let me double check.
I held it in, the light came on to the title screen. And
Dude, I'm starting to feel really, like, weird sensations touching me, dude. I don't know what's going on.
yeah, it felt like something. Yeah, like just dead as a doornail. And those are brand new.
In recent years, the word paranormal has taken on a new place in thoughts and minds of people everywhere. Once a word associated with blasphemy and the supernatural, paranormal has entered mainstream thoughts and conversations. 42% of American population believe in either ghosts or hauntings today. Within that, the discussions in the media have tripled in the last 20 years. In 2016, a radio talk show rose from the darkness in New York and now has become a popular beam of light with a no-holds-barred paranormal discussion. It's raw, live, and sometimes out of control. It's real and here, allowing all that care to listen to new ideas, new thoughts, old superstitions, and sometimes the downright weird. You want different? You want off the cuff? You want edgy? Then Paratalk Radio is what you should be listening to. It's 2 hours of guests, interviews, skepticism, unusual topics, and outside-the-box strange that pushes every button on the soundboard of life. So again, discover Paratalk Radio. Monday nights on WLFE DB Radio Network, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Paratalk Radio can be seen as live videocast on Facebook and heard on audio streams through iHeart, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Spreaker, Comcast, Radio.com, and so many more. Join Ted and Cindy every Monday with guests and topics that will open a pathway to the unknown, the supernatural, and the paranormal.
This is Jason Bland, host of Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup, where we stream live as a webcast every Sunday night, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern, with guests who will blow your mind. Live ghost box sessions where you can call into the show to see if the spirits will talk to you, and the world wide web of weird with the latest in paranormal news and evidence. We're bringing the weird every Sunday night, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow and subscribe.
Hi, I'm Eric McGill.
And I'm David Woolever.
And we are paranormal investigators welcoming you to join us as we put new theories to the test and attempt to explain strange phenomena. We invite you on a journey that will give you a glimpse into our haunted minds. Hi guys, Eric McGill here, RU Media Network and Our Haunted Minds. I just want to talk to you guys real quick about the awesome stuff going on behind the scenes. The Our Haunted Minds video is coming along swimmingly, and it's really going to be awesome. As you guys know, Adam Kimmel is joining us for the first investigation with Dave and I. And then after that, we may have Chris, or we may have Becca, or we may have Ashley. But it's really exciting, and you guys are not going to want to miss this first one. A lot of awesome stuff happened.
Hello everyone, I'm the Goose.
And I'm Michael Bradley.
Is that what you're calling yourself tonight?
Heisenberg.
Not the Angry Kitty.
Max Braggins.
Anywho, we're the hosts of the Cryptic Paranormal Show.
On our show, we'll talk about all things paranormal except Bigfoot. He freaks me out.
Really, dude?
You know that, but I mean, I guess we could talk about him as long as I don't have to see him.
We will talk. As a matter of fact, we'll talk about all fields in the paranormal realm.
And every week we will interview new guests, celebrities, and researchers in the field, and all our comrades in the paranormal underground.
And we aren't afraid to ask the hard questions no one else will. Our conversations are rooted in our own experiences as paranormal investigators.
So be prepared to have your minds, your opinions, and your beliefs challenged.
And let's not forget to warn them about all the tomfoolery and shenanigans. Let's just say, you might want to put the kiddos to bed before tuning in. They don't call us the paranormal shock jocks for nothing.
Do they call us that?
If they don't, they will.
So be sure to tune into the Cryptic Paranormal Show every Thursday night from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on RU Media Network.
Spook you later, crypto heads.
Bye.
Shut up.
Welcome into the Abyss with your host, Sean Gilmore. Open your mind, both of your ears, and all three of your eyes to discuss all things supernatural with weekly special guests. We believe that we all learn from each other and we all have a lot to learn. What will you learn today? Here is your host, Sean Gilmore.